Obviously, it is a form of entertainment, and obviously that guys like Jake Paul, Logan Paul are doing their thing. And did you happen to catch the fight on Friday night between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul? I mean, that was something else. But I think we were talking to each other about it, and obviously, it's like you had to watch it. I mean, it is entertaining. It was a Friday night. What am I going to do, right? So, your thoughts on this fight this weekend?
A lot to do on a Friday night. What to steal a phrase, a very famous phrase, it was what I thought it was going to be. Listen, I'll be honest with you. As much hate as Jake and Logan get, there's nothing but a tremendous amount of respect I have. But I'll be honest with you, I really didn't know the event was happening. So I kind of caught at the tail end of it, and obviously watching the main event with that Anthony Joshua there. But listen, man, you got what you wanted out of it. You, how can I say this without being too critical, right? But you knew what you were expecting out of it. Now, I think everyone was complaining or hypothesizing was there's going to be fixed, was going to be scripted, similar to the whole Tyson situation, right? But when you looked at these two and you saw the massive difference in terms of one was a heavyweight and one was clearly not that, the biggest surprise out of it, Jeff, that it lasted as long as it did. That was the biggest surprise to me.
Yeah.
Jake Paul got tired towards the tail end of the fight. He was running around the ring the entire time, and it was just a matter of time. And I was thinking to myself too, man, if he keeps this up and Anthony Joshua doesn't even throw one punch or a consecutive amount of punches, man, this could be a scenario where it goes to the judges and you have Jake Paul winning this, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, here we go again." So I think the crowd got what they wanted. They want to see Jake Paul get knocked out, and they did.
But again, though, obviously, this matchup Jake Paul didn't have to take. It was rescheduled, and like I was telling you before, even the outcome, man, like what we saw Jake Paul suffer a broken jaw and all the surgeries he had to go afterwards. But he really had to take this one. He's basically could have just been like, "Hey, I'm gonna take off till next year, and then we'll get back to go back to fighting." And decided to take on Anthony Joshua, who was like bigger, stronger, and it wasn't it wasn't a matter of if, but when he was going to be able to nail Jake Paul. And listen, before we start with the analysis, which is really not that much to analyze, but there's a lot of haters of Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and I'm pretty sure YouTubers, content creators, and they made it big, and now obviously they're at this level where one can go and wrestle in WWE and one can go and fight. And kudos to them for doing it. And obviously, I think everybody would want an opportunity to to pursue your dream and chase your dreams, and because these guys are doing it. And no matter what that you might think that they're arrogant or they can come out like as as douchebags or something like that. Hey, that's how you take it. But when you look much deeper into it, you got to respect these guys for what they do. Logan on the wrestling side, Jake Paul on the boxing and entertainment side. Listen, they're living out their dream, and it's commendable. Now, whether you like the fights or not, or what you think of the validity of these fights, that's one thing. But the fact that they're doing what they want to do on their terms and chasing their dream, that's commendable. And I think everybody should strive to be or try to dream like these guys, because obviously they've made it. They've made it in content creation, and obviously every content creator has somebody that they aspire to be like or someone that they follow, and they've laid the tracks or the blueprint for how to do content creation. And everyone obviously is trying to be a Logan Paul or Jake Paul, so kudos to them on that. But as we get the analysis on this, obviously a much bigger fighter. And I didn't know this, but the ring was 22 by 22. I'm not sure what I know wrestling ring is 20 by 20, so I'm not sure what a boxing ring is, but this was kind of made for what we were watching, what Jake was doing, and that was a lot of moving around. And so Anthony Joshua had to chase. And unfortunately, though, for Jake, it was just too much as far as moving around, because he couldn't, he could not. Uh, he was exhausted. He was huffing and puffing right about like third, fourth round, and you could see it. And then you made a great point, trendsetter. Is like, listen, man, hit the body, because Joshua was missing. And obviously that the ring size had something to do with it, but you were like, he's missing. Why don't you just go to the body? And like you said, great analysis while we were watching this fight was that eventually his hands are going to go down. He's going to get tired. And obviously, he fell down lots of times, right? He fell down lots of times, tried to drag down Anthony Joshua as well. And obviously, that wasn't a very fun part of it, and even got the referee upset and got the announcers were kind of like, "Well, what's going on?" Because by the third round, you're like, "What the hell am I watching?" Right? And the crowd was getting antsy too. But your perfect analysis, you called it right there, man. Go to the body, hit the body, hit those arms, and eventually we saw him go down. And just your thoughts, though, when you saw it, to you? Was it a matter of when, not if, and also too, how big of this was for Joshua? Because everyone's talking about whether this is rigged, the stage, where they have special things that are set in the contract that you can and you can't do. This had to be big for Joshua as a fact of just the validity of this fight, right?
Well, that's always been the controversy with Jake Paul fights. Are they rigged? Is it this legit? I mean, because nobody wants to really believe that's actually a scenario where a YouTuber who has, listen, I take nothing away from Jake Paul. He's done a tremendous job of training, get himself in shape, and his skills have improved. But to be at the same level as elite fighters now, you have, Anthony Joshua, an elite boxer in the heavyweight division, and these other individuals you know, aren't up to that level. So it's kind of like, come on, what we're gonna do. And I know a lot of people want to say Mike Tyson, but listen, Mike Tyson was way past his prime. Should have really been in there. And you could tell there are times where, people will, look at footage and say, hey, listen, this is, Jake saying, hey, listen, calm down, relax, is it as scripted as people claim it to be. Just to add to your point though, too, Jeff, when I looked it up too, in terms of official sizes for a boxing ring, it's either 16 by 16, 18 by 18 or 20 by 20. So the ring was actually a lot larger, which gave Jake the ability to run around, which we did. I first called that. I think he's gonna be tired. There's no way he can do this for 8 rounds. And this was a legitimate 12-round fight, 8 rounds. So yes, to me it was a matter of time. But the closer we got to the fourth and fifth, I was starting to kind of think, is this a scenario where it's just like he's just waiting for that one punch? Luckily, he was able to go to the body, hit the shoulders, get him exhausted. I mean, I think Jake was also fatiguing himself by running around as crazy as he did. So, yeah, it was a matter of time. But there was a part of me that was a little bit worried, thinking, man, like, is he going to wait till like the sixth, the seventh, or eighth round to try to do something? At that point, it might be a little too late. And if you go to decisions, anything can happen, especially with fights that people think are rigged to begin with anyway, and they're scripted. So, listen, at the end of the day, entertaining. To your point, too, Jeff, also add this to a lot of people that are haters of Jake and Logan are the same individuals that wish they were in that spot. They were in the situation and in the lifestyle that Jake and Logan have done for themselves too. So listen, as much as disrespect comes along and the hate comes along, everyone envies to want to be in that position where Jake and Logan have the ability of kind of basically doing whatever they want to do, one in boxing and one in the WWE. So listen, at the end of the day, I hate using that term, end of the day. But basically, what's going to happen is that now Jake has no choice but to take time off. Hadn't gotten surgery on his jaw, was broken in 2 places. I think he had something with his foot as well. I think he might have dislocated or looked like he sprained his ankle. Maybe it was a little bit worse and more severe. So,
Let's just say a foot injury, right?
foot injury, yeah. So he has significant time to take off before we ever see him in the ring again.
So the original plan was for him to take on Gervonta Davis in November, and then this
Much
match.
smaller fighter.
Yeah. So this is a heavyweight, and he had to move up. I think he made it to 216. I think Joshua was like at 241, and then who knows what he was up on that fight. But obviously, you could tell when they got in there that he was obviously the bigger fighter, and it was a huge differential when you saw them in the ring in the middle. And then obviously, Jake Paul comes out to the Hulk Hogan as a tribute, comes out in the gear, and you're thinking, okay, anything can happen. People root for the underdog. I don't know how many people root for the underdog in this case,
I
but
tell you who was rooting for the underdog, Jeff. Oscar De La Hoya. And this is going to be my little clap back at Oscar for his little clap back Tuesdays, whatever he does there. For him to think that Jake Paul was going to win by knockout because, as he says, styles make fights, guys. Listen, come on, let's be honest. That's completely absurd, ridiculous, and a fair one-on-one fight, which we kind of got towards the tail end of the fight. There's no way there's any power. And listen, again, Jake had some good shots in there too, but at not any time did I think he hurt Anthony Joshua. And that was evident there in terms of the difference in terms of power and the punch. So it was just ridiculous to think that, he had a puncher's chance. I don't know whether, they wanted to do it just to get clickbait and stuff like that, or they really believed it. But if a guy like Oscar De La Hoya, who I've lost a lot of respect for, will
over the
say
years.
that over the years and barely have any to begin with now for him to say something like that just for clickbait, I get it. But if he actually believes that, I feel sorry for him. I really do.
Well, that guy was your fighter. You loved Oscar De La Hoya back in the day. I remember you were a huge De La Hoya fan back in the early 2000s. And listen, again, it's not that much of analysis, but obviously the spectacle of Jake Paul in that entrance with his brother Logan, and for at least a round there, no, at least for 2.5 rounds, 3 rounds, there was really nothing going on. People were giving Jake Paul the first round just because he got something in there. He was able to get lucky with some of the punches, but the reach was just impossible. And you get tired like that, and then you're lunging, you're going to leave yourself open. And then you mentioned the body shots. You hit the body, hands go down. You hit the hands. He was able to get the hands, hit the hands as well too. And then just hands dropped, and then he was tumbling and gassed is basically the word. He was gassed by then. And then, man, did he feel that punch though? Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. And then Jake obviously mentioned in the post that he probably broke his jaw. And then when you saw that close up of his smile, the teeth, the jaw was just all over the place. Had to get teeth removed. 2 titanium plates, one on each side, and lost some teeth. So I know they got paid handsomely, but I just don't know how much you would have to pay me to get in there to get. I probably would have died because I just, it's just I'm not a boxer or whatever like that, and obviously I would be able to take a punch like that, but that had to have hurt. So obviously, whatever he got paid, it was not well worth it, but he obviously got paid a handsome amount to take that. So I'm just glad he's okay.
I don't know. There's a big enough paycheck for me to take that myself, man. I don't know.
And then the post, there's that picture of a Logan and Jake is on the on the hospital bed, and Logan standing up, and then we saw the Logan trying to take the chain off of Anthony Joshua, which you told me about it, and I went and looked back at it, and I mean, like, what an agitator Logan was there. So always wanted
He's
to start
great at it,
something,
man.
always
He's
wanted to
great
rile
at
up
it.
something. He's the ultimate heel, dude. Obviously, made for pro wrestling. And we'll see. We'll see what the future is for Jake. Obviously, Anthony Joshua wants to get back into the world championship picture. Maybe a upcoming fight with Tyson Fury. I don't know. Boxing is so messed up, dude. You never know. They never give you the fights that you want to see. But this is obviously the next big fight to make. Terrence Crawford, obviously, retired the week before, so that's done. Canelo is maybe past his prime. So to me, this would be the fight, the heavyweight fight that people want to see. And as far as Jake, he said he's going to go back to cruiserweight. We'll see what's out there, but obviously he's going to keep on fighting. Would he ever go to WWE with his brother, and would he be entertaining like Logan? I got to say yes. I got to say both these guys are made for WWE, and if they were ever a tag team, holy crap, trendsetter, they would be probably, in all honesty, one of the best heel tag teams ever without even seeing Jake in a wrestling ring.
I can't even argue that statement. I can't, because listen, as much as people want to dispute the fact that, oh, look at, Jake, he's in the boxing ring, he's taking serious damage, he's taking high risk. There is risk in professional wrestling, as well, as Logan has alluded to on his podcast and when he's done interviews before, of how taxing it is on the body. Now, for somebody like Logan, it comes natural because he's so naturally athletic. I don't know if the same athleticism, and people say, oh, he's doing boxing though, but it's a little bit different in terms of that and doing it in the ring. But I think I would agree. I really feel right now, after this fight, he's probably going to go to, like you said, he's going to go to cruiserweight after he recovers from his injury. He really is banking on trying to get a world championship of some kind. So there's still that dream of his to do that, along with the management, and basically trying to convince the public that Jake Paul had a legitimate shot, and it was basically Anthony Joshua who was tugging on his head and causing him to be exhausted as to why this fight was lost. But regardless of that, I think that transition moving in, unless Jake has a few more fights left in him and see how that goes, I think that would be the next possible solution for him. I think it makes the most sense. Longevity wise, though, too, it's like, you see Jake there, you see Logan more often on TV now, but still it's a scenario that he's used sporadically, I guess, in a sense, to elongate his career. That would be amazing, man. Can you imagine the heat, the nuclear heat that people would have to want to boo these guys? They hate them already, and to see them in WWE as possible tag team champions or just as a team together in some type of entourage, whether it's past the vision or not. It would be amazing to watch.
Oh
I
man,
would pay to see it.
Jake Paul should be in WWE. I think he should maybe take one more match and then for 1 year, just give it 1 year to set up a WrestleMania match against the Usos. Give me Jake and Logan Paul versus the Usos next year, WrestleMania or in Saudi, whatever. Take that time and listen. Jake might think that's all real. I think Logan has been able to balance sports entertainment and pro wrestling, and I think he's more of a guy that's more well adjusted for it. But Jake, give him a couple matches, and I think that the bug I think will bite him, and I think he'll want to do this. Just give me a year of Jake and Logan together. Help Logan out because he can maybe learn more about the wrestling psychology. Although he's obviously a natural heel, but Jake and Logan, my goodness, dude, give me matches like that with the Usos or the New Day. But Jake and Logan for 1 year would be one of the greatest wrestling tag teams ever. Maybe never reach that top 5 for longevity, but definitely when you go back in the wrestling history and look at tag teams, they would definitely be a top tag team when you look at them because they both got that heel, that charisma. I wonder if Jake, though, obviously would probably be a little bit more of an agitator. He'd probably be more harder to get to, hey, listen, man, this is sports entertainment. Obviously he might be a little bit more hard to deal with, but man, Jake and Logan were meant to be WWE superstars, and I think they would make one hell of a tag team.
And I doubt there haven't been conversations already about that. So, I would be surprised if there weren't already conversations about that when Jake's done with this boxing career at whatever point that might be. And you would think maybe after this fight sooner than later, but that would make a lot of sense. I would not be opposed to it. And I think a lot of fans would enjoy it and people would pay money to see that.